my opinion is when they were saying they're getting ready to release another set, I was like, oh, man, like we're all in the same boat. These crew chiefs and engineers have all thought about best case, worst case scenario. Like, let us have our 10 sets and let us go play. And if your driver happens to be better at saving tires than the other 35, 36, 38 drivers, then your guy wins.
We managed to borrow the consumer cellular cutoff Firesuit, and we made we've got a guy named our new tire guy is Caleb, and he came on board with us a few weeks ago, and so he's getting all the new guy abuse. So we asked him I won't even know if we asked him. We basically said, you're going to wear this. So we made him wear the cutoff Firesuit to race the go-kart. So it was pretty funny.
Yes.
Little rookie hazing.
Well, I don't think you can do that technically, but but yeah.
I gotta be honest with you.
It's done in every
100%. We were hazing him. So
I would have worn it on purpose. I mean,
I think he enjoyed it. I think he was okay with it.
Welcome into Backstretch Banter, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90. Chris Childers, Mike Massaro. This is your home for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing each and every week on the program. We are coming off of Bristol, and Bristol was interesting to say the least. Heartbreaking. I remember my feelings at the end of the race, texting members of the RFK team, and I used some choice language in those texts, but let's talk about it. It was a fun weekend. Certainly that racetrack always provides a lot of entertainment, and our special guest today, tire specialist for Chris Buescher and the number 17, Nate McGuire, is with us. Nate, welcome in. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to join you guys.
Great to have you here. I mean, you had an interesting weekend, and are you recovered?
Totally. Yep.
Okay, good.
Ready for Loudon.
All right.
How would you describe the weekend? The racing, the tires, the wear, the difference between the practice and the race? I mean, just watching it on TV, I was exhausted for you guys who deal with tires. But how would you explain the weekend that you just lived through?
Well, I mean, the weekend started off like every other weekend. I mean, we have 11 sets for the weekend initially. And, got them into sets, and then we go to practice. Everybody's kind of timid and kind of curious to see how everybody was doing. We were in group 2 for practice and paying attention to Brad and Ryan's car. And every time they came in, we'd kind of look at them and see how they were doing. Tires looked pretty good. They were holding up kind of how we expected at the time, given the track temp and everything that Goodyear and NASCAR told us. So we went out and did our practice, and same thing, like ran a bunch of laps, not terrible wear, had pretty good pace and high line, low line, kind of all that deal. Went out and qualified. Of course, everybody was within a tenth or two of each other for qualifying, so I think we ended up 21st on the 17 car. And kind of, debriefed and kind of chit-chatted with everybody how things might go for the race. In the back of my mind, I kind of figured it might play out kind of like how it did.
In the back of your mind?
Yeah. I mean, I was one of the ones that was kind of hoping that they'd last 75, 80 laps, kind of break up the stages a little bit, make you back down your pace a little bit or go for it. That way you'd still have excessive wear, but not 140 laps like the spring race or the following fall race. So I was excited to see how it was going to play out. I can remember during the race, I said earlier I saw about 4 laps of the race. And
he was a little busy, Chris.
You think? Yeah. You think?
The one lap I saw the 60 go by really slow. And next thing I knew, I saw him on pit road. I was like, oh, man, what happened to him? And then I kept doing what I was doing, and a lap later, I saw another car on pit road. And I'm like, what is happening? And I looked up at the monitor. I was like, uh-oh. Okay. I got on my gloves, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to pit. Like, here we go. So, every 35, 40 laps deal kind of worked out that way, and the rest is history. But
so you had it in the back of your mind. So it wasn't a complete surprise, but at the same time, I think a lot of people probably were. surprised, considering how practice went.
Yeah. I mean, talk around the garage, everybody's thinking, oh, well, how's practice going to go? And when practice went well, it's like, well, it was 20 to 30 degrees warmer, during practice than it was.
What were the track temps? You remember?
Approximately,
Approximately?
I think it was. Let me look at my notes.
You do.
See, I have
so
notes.
Chris, our guest today came prepared. All right, he's got he's got his tire Bible.
Yeah. So practice track temp was about 102, and the start of the race was 89 and got down to about 79.
Big swing.
Humongous swing.
And I think what NASCAR and Goodyear had talked about and thought about was that they know tires are track temperature sensitive, right? And it's kind of where that track temp falls. And obviously it's Mother Nature, so you can't guarantee it. So I mean, I think they did a good job to create a good product of racing. It's just you gotta kind of plan for it.
I mean, that's what Brad kind of said it after the race. Talking about how this is a great. He didn't call it a science experiment, but he said it's something that a lot of scientists would be interested in studying, and that's, I guess, how the track temp, where the sweet spot of the track temp was to meld with the tire versus being a detriment to the tire. I mean, track temp's a big deal, right? It's a big deal. It's something you guys pay very close attention to week in, week out. But have you seen? I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. How often, I guess, is something like this a factor? Where you see this much of a difference in the tire wear based upon track temp.
What was it? Spring of 24, Bristol. I mean, Bristol seems to be the track.
So it's rare, is what you're saying.
It's not rare, but I mean.
But it's Bristol rare, is what maybe the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where it was great racing at the end, right? You kind of had to go through the growing pains.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just curious, Chris, and Nate, you'll be the one to answer this, of course. But, when that happens in a race, you've got to set a number of sets of tires that you're allocated. Now, granted, NASCAR gave you an extra set. But how concerned are you about rationing those tires so that you get the distance? Because you can't expect that NASCAR is going to give you an extra set, right?
Exactly. So, and this is my opinion. It might be different than some of the other guys. So, my thing is this weekend we have 11 sets for the weekend.
Right.
1 for practice, 1 for qualifying, and then 9 for the race, stickers. We're allowed to carry over our qualifiers. So, we had 10 sets. 10 sets divided by, totally did the wrong,
right?
Yeah, by 500 divided by 10 is 50 laps.
Right.
So you got to make them last 50 laps. So my opinion is when they were saying they're getting ready to release another set, I was like, oh, man, like we're all in the same boat. These crew chiefs and engineers have all thought about best case, worst case scenario. Like, let us have our 10 sets and let us go play. And if your driver happens to be better at saving tires than the other 35, 36, 38 drivers, then your guy wins.
It's interesting.
So when they give us the tire, I was like, all right, well, we got an extra set of stickers. We ended up using them, and we ended up only on our car, and we only ended up having our qualifying scuffs left. So we never really got to reuse those or replay them. I do know that some teams did, instead of using a set of stickers earlier on or this or that. So, I mean, there's multiple strategies within the whole garage area, right? But I just think my personal thing is if you go into a race weekend knowing you have 10 sets for the race, keep it at that number. Unless there's something dramatically wrong, like there's a tire issue or something that they didn't foresee. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, let it fall in the hands of the drivers, right? And,
and
the ones who are more talented, more skilled at taking care of them.
Yep.
Right. Interesting. I mean, it's
an
like
art.
It's like anything else, right? You got to play to your strengths.
Yes. Yep. That's and these crew chiefs and engineers know. I mean, if they can run a set for 30 laps or run a set for 100 laps, they can kind of figure out their track position versus pitting versus stickers versus scuffs. Like it's that's their job. I mean, I think when you just add a set, you just kind of put a Band-Aid on the problem and move on. And but
No, anyway.
But we used them and we needed them.
Fascinating. It's
But they did add
the details. Fascinating, honestly.
Yeah, completely. But they did add the extra set. So, what's your responsibility in that situation as a tire specialist? Once there's an extra set coming, most of those sets are all pretty much taken care of before the race. But now all of a sudden, brand new set, and you're on lap 300, and you've got more work to do that you weren't expecting to do. Normally, work that's done before the race. So how did that affect you as a tire specialist?
So, about 150 laps or so into the race, there was chatter about releasing another set. So, I had one of the guys that was like dedicated to help, and I was like, "Hey, go down to Goodyear with a tire cart, and as soon as they release them, grab them, bring them to me. Try to fast as possible, just in case, we weren't sure when they were going to release them." So then you just kind of do the same thing that I would a normal weekend. Torque the valve stems, look at the tires over, pressure them, roll them out, make it a set, the best possible. When Goodyear does that, they try to do their best at keeping date codes and all that stuff close as possible. And ours were, and shift codes and all that. So basically just gather that information, get the new tread depths, put them into our computer, send it to the engineer, he puts it into our database, and then I believe it was set 12, I called it this week, and ready, make sure they're aired up, ready to go. I want to say it was 150 laps to go. I think I radioed and said, "Hey, that set's ready to go if we need them." So took maybe 20 minutes tops from releasing them for them to be ready. So that's probably a little long, probably 15 minutes. But
Nate was busy. Nate was very busy.
I was a little busy.
Yeah.
But
Nate, I'm curious, you mentioned the date codes, right? Give us an idea of how that factors in, a little more information about it, a little more detail on the date code aspect of the tire.
So Goodyear gives us the information of the tire the week before. They're mounted here in North Carolina on our race wheels and practice wheels. And then we're given the information. On the tire, there's a shift code. It comes with an A, B, or C, first, second, or third shift, and basically the day of the week that it was made or produced. And then the sidewalls are made on, in a month. So that's like the 825, let's call them. And then when they're completely built, put together by hand and rated and everything, there's a spring rate of the tire. And then we basically compile that information of when it was made, who made it, what machine it was made on, and then it's called a sequence code, basically the machine, and then when it came on down the line from the rubber. And we kind of look at that information and just try to get the closest match sets for the whole weekend. So it does put a little pickle when you get a set during the race. But it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do. Try to make the best with what you got.
That detail, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It really is. The detail with the tires and the date code and everything, and how you're mixing and matching. I mean, I'm looking at an example right now on my computer screen, and I never would have even thought of that. You know what I mean? I honestly wouldn't have even thought about it as something that was important with the mixing and the matching, but that's kind of a cool thing, and I'm sure NASCAR fans enjoy learning about all the nuance there. When you look at this past race in particular, I mean, this is the perfect race to have somebody who manages tires and is a tire specialist, as we're talking to Nate McGuire, who is the tire specialist for Chris Buescher in the number 17. Is there a moment in time where, well, take us through how you're doing your job, because you mentioned the fact that you only see 4 laps. So you're busy as hell, but how do you stay calm underneath it? Do you notice other people in the same position as you from other teams, maybe that are in panic mode? That was a crazy ass race. Mentally, how do you do that job and keep calm when It's chaos.
Well, I tend to take a little pride in myself of saying that I've been doing this long enough to where you kind of
You've seen it all.
You expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I take a couple ibuprofen before the race, hydrate with some water.
Have you seen
some
young
hoist.
guys start to panic?
I believe RFK put a tweet out there, a meme of Cameron, the tire guy in the 60, where he had like his hands on his head.
Yes. Yes.
So he's probably
as an example.
Yeah. He's prime example. This is his first full-time year being a tire specialist, so in a Cup Series. So we have a group chat, and I did text him a couple times and said, I hope you guys, are well hydrated and are ready for this because it's going to be a long one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're just, as opposed for the race, back to that question, the constantly checking air pressure because it's getting cooler. Track temp's getting colder, so air temp's getting colder. Making sure because now we were hoping for 75, 80, 100 lap runs. Now we're doing 30, 40. Air pressures can be a little bit different, so we're adjusting for how long we think we're actually going to run versus what we are running. Normally I look around at who's in front of us and who's behind us, kind of see, if their tires are as bad as ours or as good as ours, or how many sets they have compared to us, and kind of try to stay on top of, if somebody pitted or double pitted a stage versus, or some people may have, pitted 3 times during that stage. So I was just kind of trying to keep an eye on how we were with our tire allotment versus others. And like I said, checking on the other guys and just I don't, or during the pit stop, I do the sign and roll front tire too. So it's not like I'm just sitting back during the pit stop. So I have to prepare myself for that as well.
Nate, how long have you been doing this?
I moved down here in May of 2005. And
as a tire specialist?
Just as anything. I didn't care if I swept floors or.
So you were at Indianapolis the year. Were you there?
I was not.
I was wondering if you had any comparison between what just transpired in Bristol to what happened in Indianapolis. I believe it was 2008, right? So
yeah, I was in Xfinity at the time.
Okay, but you do remember it.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So it lives in legend in your mind and in every tire specialist mind, I'm sure, is,
yes.
Oh my God, I don't want something like that to happen
yeah.
again. So I would imagine that at least you'd heard the stories, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
There's definitely a couple guys that are still in the garage area now that were there then. And it's not as bad as that.
It's a cautionary tale, right?
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, it wasn't as bad as that, right?
No.
It definitely was not as bad as that. But it just was interesting because I remember at some point during the race, Derek Finley, who was around in that era, was telling Ryan over the radio, Ryan Preece, hey, not as bad as 2008 in Indianapolis. So
I think Brandon got caught saying, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen, the spotter for Preece.
Right.
And he's like, you weren't there in Indy.
So we have that. We know that.
Yep.
There's always Indy.
Exactly.
Yes.
So one thing, there are so many facets to this sport that I don't think people understand that will separate who wins and who does not win, and who does well and who does not do well. And that's experience at every position and skill at every position. So when you have a race like this, you got to believe that one of the factors is your experience as a tire specialist versus other teams who don't have an experienced tire specialist. That may have, been the difference, in some areas, wouldn't you think?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, It could for sure. When you're like, Mike Messick came up to me during
engine tuner.
Yeah. Came up to me about halfway through the race. He's like, "Hey, are you doing okay? You good? Can I get you anything? You need anything?" I said, "I'm good, Mike. I'm cool. I'm calm, collected, like just going through the motions, trying to just keep it smooth sailing, trying not to keep the heart rate up too high." But yeah, I mean, definitely like if the car wasn't handling as well, which most of them weren't because they're trying to just make lap time and keep the tires underneath them. But if there's a lot of air pressure adjustments, or if the crew chiefs want to change stagger by flipping tires, or something like that, then yeah, it could be a very, very busy night for guys that aren't quite as experienced as some of us in the Cup Garage.
Well, you mentioned crew chiefs. We're going to have Jeremy Bullins on the show a little bit later. It's going to be interesting, Chris, to hear his perspective on how this all factored into strategy throughout the course of the night. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show.
One, yep.
Yeah. But
all right, Nate, hang out though. We still have a few more minutes with Nate. We'll take a break, come back, and we will continue our conversation with the tire specialist for the number 17 car for RFK Racing, driven by Mr. Chris Buescher. We'll do more next with Nate on Backstretch Banter. Stick around. We are back here on Backstretch Banter, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, your home for Roush Fenway Keselowski. I'm Chris Childers. Mike Massaro alongside. We got Nate McGuire, our special guest today, tire specialist for Chris Buescher, and the number 17 car. We were just talking with Nate about the crazy weekend that was in Bristol. We're going to New Hampshire this week. By the way, we got some cool sponsors. We got Kroger. We got the Red Sox involved this weekend, BuiltSubs.com. So lots of cool stuff going on, and I'm sure the activations are going to be a lot of fun. Mohawk, some cool things. So we'll continue to talk about those throughout the show. We got Nate for a few more minutes. Nate, the guys were telling me you have a pretty damn cool tattoo that has something to do with a big moment in your life and Watkins Glen International.
Yes.
Explain. Now, I don't want to see it per se, because I've heard it's in, maybe unspeakable place. No, I'm kidding. But tell us about this Watkins Glen tattoo, sir, and what it means to you.
Well, so yesterday I happened to notice that it was 1 year since Chris won at Watkins Glen. When we went up there in August, I told a bunch of people that I wanted to do something to remember that win forever. So Saturday after practice, I drove down to close to my hometown in New York and decided to get a tattoo. And it's basically it's kind of like the bowling pins for the Go Bowling Racing, and the checker flag, and the number of the car, the chrome 17 for the build subs for that weekend. Watkins Glen was my first race as a fan back in 1993. My mom took me. Cool. And it's funny because if I remember correctly, Mark Martin got the pole, led the most laps, I believe, and then he ended up winning the race. So it was kind of a all-around moment. Like when Chris crossed...
Full circle.
Yeah. When Chris crossed the line, it was just like... I just remember looking up at the stands and it's like, wow, like, here it is. This is my moment. Like, I'd love to win the Daytona 500, don't get me wrong, but to me that was kind of my Daytona 500 moment. It's like, wow, it's full circle, and it was neat. So yeah, I told Buescher right before the race in August. I said, hey, I did something yesterday, and he's like, what? And I showed him a picture of it, and he's like, who's that? I said, that's me. He's like, you're crazy. I said, well, it'd be really, I got room for another date there, so let's go try to win today.
Heck yeah.
We were 2 spots short, but
So is that the plan, to kind of keep your keep all your stats on your leg?
I don't have many Cup wins, but yeah, I hope so. I might. Yeah.
All right, and there's room for more than just one more, right?
Yeah.
There's
I think
room
Massaro
for
should
a couple
start
dozen
that
more.
That'd be
right?
kind of cool.
How do you know
Come
I
on,
haven't
Mike.
already, Chris?
Yeah.
Maybe you have.
I'll never tell.
Maybe you have. That's a good point.
So Mark Martin won.
Yep.
Your first race at the Glen, and
Yep.
here you are at RFK. I mean, just following a path. I mean, it's like Mark sent you down that path, the Roush path, if you will.
A little bit. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was a diehard Dale Earnhardt fan.
Okay.
But it was really cool. I remember
You weren't the only one, by the way.
No, not at all. But I remember that race specifically. It was really cool. It was like, wow, like this is neat. You know, somebody that won from the pole and everything else. He was very dominant that race.
Did you become a Mark Martin fan after that?
I respected him for sure.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it was anybody that can do that at a Watkins Glen or a road course back then, even too. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
By the way, your recollection is spot on. He did lead the most laps that day. In fact, our statistician, Thomas Burfield, has told us that he led 47 laps on the day, which was the
Nice.
most. Yes.
just over halfway.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
So Watkins Glen, did you? I mean, you grew up in the area,
Yep.
right? And so when you were there for that first race, did you camp out? How'd you go about the race weekend?
So Mom and I camped out. Gosh, I can remember the stats, but I can't remember where. But somewhere in the infield, and it rained a lot, I believe, that weekend, and we tent camped, and I think everything got wet.
That was before the wets, before we ran the wet tires, right?
Yes.
So, well, Watkins
Very
Glen
cool,
is
though,
always
to have
fun.
Yeah, to have that. I mean, it is. It's cool to have that special connection, and now it's immortalized on Nate McGuire for the rest of his life. And as Nate said, let's keep adding to it. There's room. We can make that thing a little bit more crowded with some more wins. And I gotta be honest with you, as an RFK fan, let's ink up Nate's body. Let's go. Let's get it inked up for number 17. Nate McGuire, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you for all your hard work this past weekend. It did not look like it was for the faint of heart, and we appreciate you coming on. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Nate McGuire, tire specialist for the number 17, driven by Christopher Buescher. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Jeremy Bullins, crew chief for the number 6 car. When we return, and the number 6 car, well, we'll talk to Jeremy about it. It was quite a weekend. It was quite a race, quite a Saturday. We'll get into it next on Backstretch Banter. We're back here. It is Backstretch Banter with Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, Chris Childers, Mike Massaro. It was fun to hang out with Nate McGuire, who is the tire specialist for the 17. Now let's hang out with somebody we were all thinking about at the end of the race on Saturday, Jeremy Bullins, who is the crew chief for Brad Keselowski. And the number 6, if you're a fan of Brad's, if you're a fan of RFK, like I am, I was watching the end of the race thinking, oh my gosh, it's happening, it's happening. Then, yellow, caution, flag. Jeremy, I hate to kick it off with such a sad, somber note, but your thoughts when you saw that yellow with, what was it, 10 to go?
Yeah, I think it came out with 12 to go, 9 to go, something like that. It wasn't much left.
Nope.
You know, at the time, I wasn't even worried about it because I still thought, well, we're gonna be fine. Like we're leading. Like I know it's getting ready to happen. We're gonna be fine. You know, because I knew that there were 3 guys that were out of tires. I knew the rest of them were likely to take 2 tires. So if we took 2 tires, we'd still be the first one on tires. All that played out. You know, so here we're going to restart 4th in the lineup. The top had been dominant all night. I completely understand why Brad chose the top. It made sense. You know, what you can't account for is the 38 using the 77 up, coming to the restart and shoving him off the bottom and really, you know, messing, kind of, you know, hurting the restart for us for sure. And that just part of the ways for the 20 to drive on by. And you know, like we actually got cleared pretty fast and were able to run him back down and get to the bumper on the last lap. So, you know, it's just part of it. It's, you know, it's unfortunate how the caution came out because it was unnecessary. And I do think with the tire life we had and the way things were going, I really felt like we were in a good spot. I don't think anybody was going to catch us, you know, with however many laps were left when the caution came out. So, you know, it's just, we keep putting them on the list of, man, we had a shot at that one. Man, we had a shot at that one. So, you know, you keep putting yourself in that position, you're going to get your share of wins. So we're just hoping we get some before the end of the year here. You know,
I was thinking on that the last lap as Brad got to the bumper of Christopher Bell, that we were going to see the bump and run. It's almost expected. Was that what you were expecting?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you knew. You know, Bell kind of missed the bottom of 1 and 2 pretty bad, and we wrapped pretty well and got a good run off of 2. So I knew we were going to have a shot at him. But, you know, this car, you just hit so square, and he knew, you know, Bell's a pro. Like, he knew that was coming, and I'm sure he was looking in the mirror and off the brake, ready to get hit in the back. And, you know, like, so, I mean, he knew what he was doing on his end, and we hit him harder. I believe Brad when he hit him harder than he intended to, and it just doesn't do much with this car. So especially stuck as they were around the bottom. So part of it.
Yeah, part of it. I was I was completely expecting to see, that
yeah,
what
I mean,
we've
we
seen
don't
at
wanna
Bristol in years past.
I mean,
right?
a lot of respect for Bell and have raced with Adam for a long time, and a lot of respect for Adam, and we're not trying to wreck those guys to win a race by any means, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings to move them up a little bit, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, and it was still a hell of a run for the number 6 team. Certainly, the team's got to be proud. We're going to New Hampshire this week, and maybe that win is coming. How different is it, do you think, your job compared to the teams that are still in the playoff right now? How much is your job simply at this point, the hell with stages, the hell with all that, we're simply going for the checkered flag? Is that all we're talking about right now?
Well, I mean, there's still points to be gained. We're still making up points every week. We passed a couple cars this week, passed one, I think, leaving St. Louis. So we're still trying to get all the points we can get. But obviously the priority is winning a race. So like, I'm not going to prioritize stage points over track position to win a race. So, if there's something that's going to hurt us in the long run, we'll set ourselves up for the race. But if there's an opportunity to take points and it's not going to hurt us in the long run, then for us it still makes sense to get the points, because we can still catch. I mean, I think we're 131 points behind Buescher. So like, I mean, to me, that's doable. Like I think we can. I still think we can run well enough to catch him. So like, that's our goal, right? Like that's all we got left, right? So we're trying to win races and score as many points as we can.
How important is it to finish and gain momentum for next year with a win, or like you say, just gaining the points and climbing as high in the standings?
Yeah,
as
I mean, momentum is always important in any sport, and for us, it is a big deal. You definitely, the hardest thing you can do this time of year when you're not in the playoffs is keep everybody focused, because all the media attention goes to the playoff teams. All the there's this big cloud hanging over you of like, why are we here, right? And so like the hardest thing to do is to keep everybody, remind them that there's still 10 trophies getting handed out and there's still 10 races we can win. And we're doing the best we can to keep ourselves in that position and keep ourselves in that mindset. And the guys are still digging hard on the car every week and trying to get all we can get out of it. Pit crew's doing great, just trying to put ourselves in position to do what we know we're capable of. And Brad sent me a thing this morning where the last 10 races we've gained the 5th most points of anybody. So we're doing the right things. Like the start of the season was unfortunate, and it is what it is, and we've moved on, and we're just trying to build for the future at this point.
Jeremy Bullins, our guest here. He is the crew chief for the number 6. They got the Red Sox car going to New Hampshire this week, which I always love. This wrap, it's one of my favorites. I think anytime you do the team wraps, whether it's one team doing it in Chicago for that race or whatever, it's always cool. For us, we know what the F in RFK means, so this one is a little extra cool considering it's a part of the ownership group. It's the Fenway. In Fenway Park, by the way, the home of the Red Sox, one of the great places, and Brad Keselowski throwing out the first pitch at a Bo Sox game this week. Jeremy, we were talking, though, off the air, and apparently you're not a Red Sox fan.
Well, I'm honored to work for the Fenway Group. I'm very appreciative of working for the Fenway Group. But, when I was in the 4th grade and I had to do a book report, I wrote it on the Mick, the Mickey Mantle biography, right? So, my dad is a huge Yankees fan, so I grew up a Yankees fan. So, it's interesting to have the Red Sox scheme this week.
Yeah,
so
you get to wear Red Sox.
Red Sox clothes.
Obviously, it's pretty funny, growing up a Yankees fan and now working for the Fenway Group and working on the Red Sox car. It's interesting for sure.
Well, I am a Red Sox fan, and welcome aboard. You can come on to the bandwagon at any time.
Don't wait on me. I'll catch up.
I like looking at his face right now. If you're listening on the radio, looking at Jeremy's face is classic. It's absolutely incredible. The rivalry is real. It's like NASCAR. It's like the rivalries. It is a real thing. Boston and New York. Yeah. But this week, it's going to be kind of fun to watch Mr. Bullins having the Red Sox gear on. Is the Red Sox car is going to be running around the track, which the Red Sox logo, Mike Massaro, correct me if I'm wrong, I just think it looks so cool on anything, and you put it on a car, I can't think of a cooler looking car. Like, honestly, I'm not even a Red Sox fan, and I want it on my shelf. Like, that's how.
Well, that makes two of us, so it's okay. We're doing good
right?
here, right? So
there you go.
Well, the car
That's how
looks
fun it
beautiful.
is.
yeah, it does. The scheme
the
looks
best.
great. I am a huge baseball fan. Like, we have season ticket holders. We're season ticket holders at the minor league team close to us, and love baseball.
Nice.
Love going out and watching games. And haven't been to Fenway, but hopefully, maybe if I won't get in too much trouble for talking about the Yankees, I can get to Fenway at
You'll
some
be
point
all right.
here.
How
But
often do you get to go to the Red Sox, or not the Red Sox?
the minor league games?
The minor league team, yeah.
Yeah, it's usually during the week.
Knights, right? Charlotte Knights.
No, we're at the Kannapolis Cannonballers.
Oh,
So
the
it's-
Cannonball.
yeah,
which
so,
has the cool little. That's got the guy on the hat, right? That's
Boomer.
pretty cool
yeah,
logo.
Yeah. So we go usually it's like Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, like during the week. Like
Cool.
if we're home and they got a home stand, we'll make it over there a couple nights a week.
That's got to be nice. To
Yeah,
kinda
it's
get
way
away
better
and
than
go
just
spend
sitting at
some-
home
yeah.
watching TV. Go over there and
Yeah.
watch a little baseball. So
That's kind of fun to be able to do that during the season and get
Yeah,
a little
absolutely.
break
Yep.
and watch another competitor get after it when it comes. I think it's A-ball, Kannapolis, something like that.
it's high A, yeah.
High A, yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty neat.
So
Jeremy Bullins, our guest, and I'm sure he's got plenty of the Cannonballers hats that will not offend him if he wears those. Yankee fans don't mind those. When you look at where this team is right now, coming out of that race and going to New Hampshire, and certainly it would have been incredible. But what's the attitude like behind the scenes? Give me an idea of the number 6 team. It's been a weird year. Would a win just be the ultimate to put it all the crap, all the bad luck? We've documented it a lot on this show, to put it behind you. Like a win this year, how much would that ease some of the crap that this team has dealt with?
I mean, it would certainly help. It's not going to hurt
Yeah.
a thing, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we're, I mean, it would make a lot of things better. It never hurts. Obviously, just the fact that we've continued to put ourselves in the position, especially during the playoffs, like to know that we're within a few laps of winning a playoff race, as a non-playoff car. That's hard enough to do as it is. So I think that means a lot. It says a lot about where we're at as a team, and just shows what we're capable of. And it's one of those things where it just didn't go our way. So we just got to keep putting ourselves in that spot, and sooner or later it's going to go our way.
As you alluded to earlier, Brad sending you that text about being one of the top 5 teams over the last several weeks. What do you think's been different? Has anything clicked that may not have been clicking earlier in the year?
No,
Was it
because
the go-karting you guys did? Is that what just kind of
no, that was fun. That
brought
was
everybody together?
That was a lot of fun, but I think for us, it's really, I think we're just finally showing what we're capable of, because we're finishing races and we're finishing them where we should. I mean, if you go back early in the year, there were plenty of times that we were running good and got caught up in a wreck or something
true.
happened, and so I don't feel like there certainly have been places that we've had better speed than we had earlier in the year. But I feel like there were plenty of races early in the year that we were good and just didn't get finishes out of them. So, for us, I think it's a matter of just putting all the pieces together and cleaning things up, and pit crew's doing great, and just, like a lot of it's just all kind of working together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the go-karting.
Yeah.
Give us a little, give us some stories. I guess you guys, rented out the, did you rent it out, the Motorplex?
So we just did a deal. You can go over there and pay, for a couple races and per person or whatever. And I had some friends in town that really wanted to go there, and there's some guys that I know that are in the military, and they were in town and they wanted to see the shop and hang out with the boys a little bit. So it was kind of a team outing. Kind of got to go hang out with those guys and take them out racing and do some fun stuff. And it worked out to be a great team event with our group. And we managed to borrow the consumer cellular cutoff fire suit, and we made, we've got a guy named, our new tire guy is Caleb. And he came on board with us a few weeks ago, and so he's getting all the new guy abuse. So we asked him, I won't even know if we asked him. We basically said, you're going to wear this. So we made him wear the cutoff fire suit to race the go-kart. So it was pretty funny.
Yes.
Little rookie hazing.
Well, I don't think you can do that technically, but but yeah,
I gotta be honest with you.
it's done in every sport.
100%. We were hazing him, so
I would have worn it on purpose. I mean,
I think he
it's
enjoyed
pretty-
it. I think he was okay with it.
I tried to buy one.
We managed to borrow the consumer cellular cutoff fire suit, and we made. We've got a guy named our new tire guy is Caleb, and he came on board with us a few weeks ago, and so he's getting all the new guy abuse. So we asked him. I won't even know if we asked him. We basically said, you're going to wear this. So we made him wear the cutoff fire suit to race the go-kart. So it was pretty funny.
Yes.
Little rookie hazing.
Well, I don't think you can do that technically, but but yeah.
I gotta be honest with you.
it's done in every sport.
100%. We were hazing him. So
I would have worn it on purpose. I mean,
I think he
it's
enjoyed
pretty-
it. I think he was okay with it.
I tried to
so.
buy one. The whole ad team there, the marketing team at Consumer Cellular is fantastic, and I just wanted to take a moment to say that.
No, they've done a great job, and
They really
and,
have,
Yeah,
haven't they?
so I guess the worst part about the commercial is I learned that I was a horrible actor because I had a line that I must have said 1,000 times the day that we filmed that, and then when the final cut came out, it's like I must not be good enough at acting because they cut my line out. So it is what it is. Like you got to
They
play to your
cut your
strengths.
line.
All right.
It's
So
okay.
what
It's
was the
okay.
line?
Yeah, we'll get back to you, Brad.
That was the line.
Thanks, Brad. We'll get back to you.
I think he nailed it, Chris.
I
think he nailed it.
I
Yeah.
thought after the 999th time, I thought I got it right, but
That
apparently
was like
not. But it's okay.
Clooney-esque right there.
But it's it's been pretty funny to watch that commercial on TV. So
Yeah, we had Chris Buescher on the show a few weeks ago, and he
it was hilarious.
He recollected
Yes.
the line about "Shut up, Chris," and he
Yeah.
asked people to say that to him at the racetrack. And oh my goodness, he got
It
a
was-
barrage of that the following week.
It was he played that role perfectly. It was a really good banter between the two of them. Like it was all I could do not to laugh because he's like, "Isn't that just a visor?" And Brad's like, "Shut up, Chris." So it's pretty funny. So.
Anyway, that the half off suit and the
awesome.
go karting outing was just
Yeah,
one
it
of
was fun.
Just one of a couple of outings that have happened in the last few weeks, right? You guys went hiking not too long ago.
Yeah, last week the crew chiefs and drivers and some of the competition management folks went. We went on a little hike. Yeah, and went to Stone Mountain, which is about an hour and 20 minutes from the shop. So it's North Carolina's got a lot of great outdoors and some nice adventures. So it was a nice morning away from the shop and everybody getting to the top and having a quick little meeting about a couple things and walking back down. So
How long did it take to get to the top?
I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly. Maybe an hour and a half.
All right,
Like
that's a long hike.
It's pretty good climb.
I saw the video
So-
with Ryan Priest being asked about it. He said he hadn't hiked in about 10 years, and it'll probably be another 10
I'm
before
gonna
he
say
does
at
it
least
again.
10. Yeah, yeah. So it's what do you call that? Forced fun. So I don't. It's probably
Forced fun.
not something I would have signed up for if I didn't get asked to. But it was fun at the end of the day.
But there's a metaphor there, Jeremy. A metaphor. Climbing the mountain. Getting to the top.
Yeah,
right?
there you go. There you go.
Trying to find the positive.
Yep.
Jeremy Bullins, our guest, crew chief of the number 6. Let's break. We'll come back and we'll finish up with Jeremy next. Right here, we'll look ahead to New Hampshire. It is Backstretch Banter on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. We're back here on Backstretch Banter, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90. Chris Childers, Mike Massaro, Jeremy Bullins. Our guest, he is the crew chief for the number 6 car for Brad Keselowski. Let's check back in on Bristol, Jeremy, because it was a crazy weekend. The tire wear was insane. The weather changed quite a bit from Friday into Saturday, and it got nutty. And we were just talking a little bit ago to Nate McGuire, who was giving us some insight into what it was like to be a tire specialist. From your perspective, how did you manage it? The end, obviously, you called for 2 on that last caution on the pit stop. Give us an idea of what was going through your mind with tire mania taking place.
Yeah, Bristol's one of those places that you always leave with a headache because it's so loud and you're in a bowl anyways. But the headache was way worse this time from dealing with trying to get through that. But obviously saw really early that the right side tires were wearing out fast. The 60 was one of the first ones on pit road. So Josh Sell sits on our box. He ran down there and came back and he was like, "It's not good. Like it's bad. The tires are killed." So at that point, if you watch it's like there were these 2 groups, and like one group would pit and then the caution would come out, and the other group would pit and the first group would stay out. So it kind of like flipped for a lot of the first couple stages, and then as you narrowed down on who was on the lead lap and all that kind of stuff, like the left side tires had some life in them, and you could get a couple stints out of it. And there was one stint where Brad said, I'm fine with doing 2, and I was like, nope, we're waiting till the next one, because I felt like the next one could work out to be that green flag stop, which we did 2 under green, got us a big gap, getting further out faster, shortening the pit stop up, and that had us in a really good spot at the end of the race. So you definitely could do 2 and get away with it. It never drives as good, but it really wasn't that bad.
I was going to say, with the unpredictability of the tires at the early stage of the race, how much did that affect the way you did tire strategy the rest of the day or the rest of the night?
Well, you're just trying to manage your sets. Like you go into it with, X number of sets, you know what you got laying tire wise and how many laps you got to run. And you do the math on how many laps I've got to get out of each set to try to average out as best you can, knowing that, 40, 50, 55 laps at the most is about all we could get out of a set. Right. And that was trying to take care of them. And you saw the guys that ran hard could only get 30, 35. So, you had to really, really take care of your stuff, and that's one of the things that's one of Brad's strengths, and we were able to leverage that.
So the final caution comes out, right? You came down pit road, elected to do 2 tires.
Yep.
What was it like making that decision?
It was pretty easy because, honestly, we talked about, at that point in time on track, we had like a 4-second lead, and we talked about if the gap to the 20 was big enough, we might have time to do 4. But when they came down pit road, the 20 was pretty well caught up. He was only 3 or 4 car lengths behind us. So we, called for 2 and still were the first car off pit road with right sides and, came out ahead of those guys. So just, we kept ourselves in the right position just to restart didn't go our way.
Jeremy Bullins, our guest, the crew chief of the number 6. So, enough NASCAR for a second. It's the fall season.
Yeah, enough NASCAR.
It's the fall, okay? We got plenty of racing. We've talked about it a lot. We get it. We know what's up. But it's football season, baby.
Yeah.
And I know on the team, I know you're a big NC State guy. We've talked about that before. But earlier this year, or earlier in the season, I should say, a couple weeks ago, Dustin Lineback's ECU Pirates, we've talked to him before.
Oh, yeah.
Who was a part of that program. NC State and ECU played. You were joking with me, got a little chippy. What happened, sir?
Yeah, NC
State won, by the way.
NC State won. State's 3-0. They have made every game closer than it should, but they've managed to pull it out every time, so doesn't matter. I got a buddy that's a professional golfer, and he says they don't draw pictures on the scorecard. They just write down numbers. So they're still 3-0. Doesn't matter how you got there, right? So win's a win. So obviously the day of the State ECU game, Dustin's he's got a lot to say, and he's proud of the ECU program, and he should be. And it's like I told him, I can't help it that you guys, the ECU football schedule is like the NASCAR schedule, and the Daytona 500 is your first game of the year. Like, that's not my fault. And I'm sorry that the rest of your season, it's just downhill from here for you. So he did not think that was funny at all. So fortunately, NC State pulled out the win. I'm going to say, it looked really bad for a while, but they won. So, but the day of practice, it got pretty chippy, and there was a lot of talking and a lot of, but I feel like I got the last word because I got one of the guys in the pit department to blast the NC State fight song over the speakers at the end of practice. So I feel like I won the smack talk and State won the game. So it all worked out.
Does Dustin have to wear an NC State hat, shirt, anything like that this week?
No. We'll let him off easy on that. Okay. I don't think we could get him to do it anyways.
How you feeling about your Wolfpack? You got it. I'm telling you, I say this all the time. Dave Dorn is underrated.
I agree.
He is.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said, some of the games I thought were closer than they should have been, but they're managing to win, and that's all you can ask for, right?
It's all you can ask for. They got a nice looking team. I mean, look at this guy: NC State, RFK, Yankees. He's got many identities. Mm-hmm. I like that about him, though. It's a good way to roll. Jeremy Bullins, a pleasure. Thank you. Enjoy your Red Sox outfit this weekend.
I'm looking forward to it. Let me tell you.
Please, Thomas, lots of photos. Lots of photos.
I think it's going to be chilly. I might be in a pullover. I'm not sure. So might be jacket
like
weather.
102.
So.
Do we have the Red Sox pullovers available for the weekend?
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. Jeremy, thank you. We kid. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. We want to thank everybody for helping us out behind the scenes. Thomas and Eli and all the great people at NASCAR Radio back there in D.C. We appreciate them. For Mike Massaro, I'm Chris Childers. We thank you for listening to Backstretch Banter with RFK.